are shut. Stock markets are in free fall. The Wuhan virus has triggered an unprecedented crisis in human history. The sheer scale of it is unnerving. One virus has disrupted the whole world.
Yes, hello. I would like to cancel my reservation. Unfortunately, I cannot because of COVID-19.
Pole sana, you're among the people who are retrenched. Ni hali ya maisha.
Hata nilikuwa nimekuja.
Come to my office immediately. As HOD marketing, I am expecting you to be finding ways to convince those tourists to postpone rather than to cancel. You understand that this, most especially the curfews, really affecting our business. Look around Titus. There's a reason why while others were being laid off, I strongly bargained for your retention. I'll pay 2.5 salary. And your department has not been rendered redundant. I think you need to be handling this more carefully. Be wise. Shut the door behind you.
There are plenty of obstacles for professionals of color, but there's one unspoken challenge, a phenomenon that has come out clear during this pandemic, a phenomenon referred to as black tax. Black tax is money given to family members any day of need, any time of request.
Good afternoon.
Tito, you promised to visit my folks last week and clear my dowry. Saizi napigiwa simu na madhe. Hata sijui nimwambie nini.
We would have visited your mom, but with this corona, you clearly know we can't go.
Rurashio tumeplan kuanzia last year. Kama haunitaki Tito, sema. Hizi mambo za kunizungusha kama mtoto mdogo staki.
Black tax is and will continue happening. However, with COVID-19, the black professionals' ability to remit the tax is tested.
You're required to
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Arts and Hearts. My name is Victoria Nkapa, and you are here yet for another beautiful Friday filled with educative content, entertaining content, and you already know we are up for the jokes, and the learning. Now we're here to learn and unlearn about scripting and storyboarding. And who else to do the show with other than the man himself, Mr. Likuyani Eli, who is in the backstage waiting to come on board. But before he comes on board, I just want to tell you, welcome to the show. And I am seeing you in the comment section, so please engage with us in the comment section. Welcome to everybody who's on YouTube, who's on all the Facebook pages, who are on Tina Figuere's page, and enjoy the show. Now, to the eloquent, not so eloquent, but eloquent, Mr. Eli, and then to the handsome. We agree that he's very, very handsome. Young ladies, I see you all the time in those comment sections. We agree that he's very handsome, but he's also funny and a man with a golden heart. Mr. Eli, please come and show us your handsome face. Hello, Eli.
Hi, Victoria and Katha. Good evening, and it's a pleasure having you and hosting this show with you. I mean, I can't wait for you to tell me the stories behind scripting and, of course, storyboarding. But more importantly, I can't wait to run this show with you because you're the most beautiful lady on planet Earth as we speak about creativity. God
Eli,
must have spent his time on you.
Ellie, are you only saying that because I'm the only female of the show tonight?
Well, you never know. Just in case there is
Ah,
competition, I want to stand at a par and be able to stand out from the rest.
Ellie, if there was someone, I know you're trying to eliminate competition. I see some very, very fun men in the backstage, but I know you're already trying to get there. But you know what? It's fine. I get to choose. I get to choose. But anyhow, and I know that you're trying to do this because there's no other female here. If there was somebody else, you'd probably already have jumped ship, Kitambo. But this is worth scripting. Our story is worth scripting, don't you think?
Yeah, it's worth scripting, and that's why we cannot wait to bring in the first script man of the night, Mr. Xavier Jerry Nato. Good evening, sir, and how are you?
Hey Ellie, hey Victoria. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. Just enjoying myself, and I'm really honored to be here with you. God bless you so much, and I'm ready to share with whatever I have with the people who love art.
Definitely. I don't know what is happening to Victoria. She seems to be holding her mouth and hiding behind it. You must be
It's because
airborne with the look of the gentleman.
No,
yeah, you
I
forget
am
to
in awe.
introduce me.
I am in awe. I was actually supposed to introduce him, but you know what? Let me tell you, early and eliminating competition. Early and eliminating competition. He was afraid that I was gonna say handsome as well. So this is
Play
this
my
is
game
this
good.
is this is what he did. This is what he did. But you know what, Ellie, you cannot take this one away from me. We have a man who is talented in in the backstage. And he was the man, the handsome, tall, dark, and handsome man that we saw in the clip that we just saw.
Yep.
And he was the one who was speaking, and he's the man behind that very, very lovely clip, which we're going to see more of later on. So please, please, please help me welcome Mr. Derek Waswa on stage. Even the walikuwa amekataa ni introduce Xavier. He had refused for me to
Yes,
introduce
yes,
Xavier like
yes,
that.
yes. Hello, hello
Good
everyone.
evening. Good evening, Mr.
Good
Derek. How are you?
evening.
Good evening to you,
I'm
sir. How are you
fine.
doing?
Thank you. I'm great, and thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. I don't know. You know, Victoria is trying to really score points for herself because she's trying to be in one of the productions that you're making. But I just told her,
But of
since she's
course.
in diaspora and she's the one who has been remitting money, guess what?
Yes.
You have
Yes.
been listed.
Ellie, let me tell you something.
Indeed.
Ellie, let me tell you something. Where there is an opportunity, I will go. Who would not want to see this fine melanin young lady in their production? Please, can you ask them? Can you ask them? They are here. Can you ask them? Ellie, this is the reason why you have me on acting hats. This is the reason why you have me on acting hats. Exactly. Can we speak facts? Can we please speak facts? Thank you.
You know what? Let's just say it is
Ellie,
time
shut up.
to
Don't
get
say anything.
it rolling. First things first, allow these gentlemen to actually properly introduce themselves and what they do as creatives. Let's start with you, sir. Derek.
My name is Derek Waswa. I am a video content producer, director, who also doubles up as generally jack of all trades because it's nothing in production that I can't handle. I do camera work, I do editing, I do scripting, I do casting, and I do every facets of production from theater to film to documentary. So I consider myself a video content producer who's specializing in everything that is required to be on screen and on stage. And with my experience, I believe that I'm very honored to be part of this panel. Thank you so much.
Wow. Victoria, endelea kuchapa mnua, nimekuachia.
I have been told that nauza sera. Nimeambiwa nauza sera. Whoa. But amazing, Mr. Derek. And we would love to hear all about your content creation because there are people who do not know that before things are on YouTube and on Facebook and in film, before they get there, they come from an idea, and this idea is noted down. It is written down, and that is what we're here to juggle your minds on. Because there are people who see films and just think people just shoot on a camera or what and what. but there's a lot that goes behind that before a film or any type of content becomes content. Now, Mr. Xavier, now allow me to say the handsome, talented Mr. Xavier Jerry Nato. Please go on and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Xavier Nato, and I really think I should have been introduced after Derek because I don't have such a long CV. Generally, I'm just a performing artist. I am a writer, director, and also a producer, both on stage and on film. And the most beautiful thing about what I love doing is that I don't feel bad when I'm in the art world. And that's why I really want to associate myself with the title Art in the Heart. Or is it Heart for the Artist? So thank you so much.
Ellie, and you know this is the problem. This is the problem, number tamchi. Anywho, but another thing that also is amazing is when people say that I don't have such a long CV, and then they tell us they are a producer, they are a creator, they are. I'm like, Sasa,
We know what you've been creating, Vicky. We know the only thing you've been creating, and because the sitting does not allow us to discuss it, let us just quickly invite those who are watching on the live stream, and let's get this thing started. All the way down, Frida Nguku, thank you so much for joining us and tonight. That is a mega introduction at Derek. Wow, okay, Derek, you're already getting some good thumbs up there. We have Hamisi Ramadhani who says good. I love film, so we are here. That is from Frida. Sarah and Jonjo, good evening. She says, Allah Victoria. I don't know what you told them, but I guess there's something nice that is coming up moving forward. We have Vicky Anauza Sera Kuuza. Of importance is connections. Connections is very important.
Your network is your network.
You know, Vicky, when they'll be casting, you know what kind of role they'll give us?
Which ones?
I'll let you know after this. Utakuwa tu mama jikoni. But moving forward, we have James King who says, following intently. Otherwise, I like what you are doing, James Oko Omuko from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so much, James.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that. You cannot move on swiftly and look at me and think that me, Mama.
We are sticking to the script. We are sticking to the script.
No, wait. If we ask the script writers, even them when they're doing their casting for their scripts, they look at somebody and weigh whether they can be.
That's why you got it wrong. The guy that will be casting is the director, actually.
No, Mr. Mr. Xavier, as you're writing, when you're writing, let's look at this. Let's just think about this for a minute. Now, when you're writing a script and you're looking at this is Mama Mboga, this is Mama Jikoni, this is successful CEO, this is this and that, you usually have a picture in your mind of the kind of person that you want, right? So now, in all honesty, Mr. Derek, in all honesty, do I fit for Mama Jikoni? In all honesty.
No, you don't fit for Mama
Jikoni. Mr. Xavier, do I fit for Mama Jikoni?
I think Ellie fits.
Ha! And the professionals have it. The professionals have said it. Go on with your comments, Mr. Ellie, because the professionals have said it. Now
this
go
is
on.
Soda.
Please, you are not going to look for the product placement at this early stage. before we say approved. Let's see. The way I love NATO. Hey, guy. Can teach scripting and stage performance in every beautiful way. And of course, that's all the love from Yanduko 254, one of our own. And Nato, hey, leo unapendeka sana. Baba, where? That is Baba Nesh, a very interesting gentleman we equally get to work together with. Thank you so much for coming, sir. We have Masitoni Timothy, who says, munaweza haki. Eloquent, not so eloquent. By the way, Vicky unapenda kuchoma. But it's all right. It's all right. Kofi Anan Kofi Amakaye Dede. Thank you so much for joining us. Patty Pato, Nico Fremont, Tina, what's going on here? Yes, you'll be finding out as we continue the conversation. Thank you so much, Wycliffe Gaddafi, Bimasi, Godwi Segero, Lawi Kwendo, among others. Let's get straight into it. Nato, like Victoria was saying, once you want to come up with a piece, the very important things you want to consider is how you want to present this piece. So when does scripting actually begin? Does it begin by writing or processing the thought of what you intend to write?
Conceptualization probably is what I can say. It's something has to inspire you, something has to happen probably, or you will read it somewhere, then it gets into your mind for you to conceptualize it. And now imagine if you can put it on stage, and probably I can use like the very nice show that Derek, by the way, congratulations Derek for a really interesting concept that you put across for the Kenya Film Board. Yeah. If you look at that, it's something that probably so many people can relate to. So it's an issue that has affected so many people during the pandemic. Yeah. So when you get probably affected by it, or you can see someone, maybe a friend, a relative who's affected by a certain issue, as a burning issue, that will also drive you to put your ideas on script. Script is not just putting words on paper, as much as a script is the document that an actor goes to get before doing all other things. But the most important thing is conceptualizing that issue before it goes on paper. My take.
Interesting. Derek, what do you think of that? Do you work with conceptualizing, or do you just wake up one morning and the pen starts to do the working?
Well, in my view, Xavier is very right. It starts with conceptualizing, but before conceptualizing, there's something called ideation. Ideation is the origin of the concept, and there are various types of ideation that you may come across and which inspire your writing and inspire your concept, from dreaming to reading magazines to watching and to live real-time experiences to very many other things that affect your lives, which actually lead to the concept. And then from the concept, then you can be able to put it down on paper as a script before you proceed with the other levels of production. So you have to have an idea, starting with the ideation, then the concepts, then you start writing, which I believe is the correct technique of creating a substantial concept that will be showcased on screen.
That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. And one of the things that I would love to ask is Xavier said from reading to the idea, you said that it would be from magazines or whatnot. I would love to really just go into the first aspect before it all gets noted down. Now, where do ideas stem from, or where do you get your motivation? Is it a burst of creativity? Is it from things that happen? Because this now I'd like to address in regard to black tax, and that is something that we all know. Where do you get it from before we enter into the black tax discussion?
Generally, there are very many sources of ideas, which is ideation, and they can be surmounted into various different forms. But black tax is actually out of a real experience, my real experience, and somebody's close to me real experience, and that is part of yeah.
Somebody has eaten your money, right? Somebody has eaten the fair.
No, not eating the fair. on a flat pedestal, actually, is not actually me myself, but I have been privileged to experience very many friends who have really felt the impact of black tax in their real life. And from what I see and what I hear from them, I felt why not address the issue? Because before an idea comes to pass, then there has to be a concept. And concepts only come from real life experiences, in my view, or things you can relate to, or things you've experienced, you've dreamt about, read about, or seen in news. Things that you feel have impactful messages and will be able to relate to as many people as possible. That is usually my principle. And so black tax came from an experience that my friend always told me about, because would work together always. But the amount of money that they get paid, for instance, let's say we are getting 10,000. At that particular day, when you go for in a restaurant and you order something, that person will tell you, "Bana, I don't have anything," and yet that is the same day that you've been paid. When you go you're fueling a car and you're hiring a car and you need to balance it. This person tells you, I don't have anything because I've sent it home, or I sent it to my sister. I paid my sister's fee. I bought beer for my uncle. I am paying for my auntie's medical bill. So it's a list of conglomerated things that are following this person, and to the extent that they can't
Captain,
they,
you
they,
just
they
started.
can't they can't make a simple move in life because there are talents that are connected to them, not because they are very rich, but it's because probably he or she is the first person who has gotten a job in that family, or is the only beam of light in that family, or is the only graduate in that family, or is the only person who can speak English in that family, or is
And
the
I
only
think
person whose 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 community has come together to fundraise for their higher education. So the entire community feels like they owe their success to this person. And this person has a right to pay back without questioning or without anything. So as much as they are working, their life is stagnant because they have a lot of demands, because they not only have to pay for their own bills, they have to cater for their entire community bills, which is stagnating their lives and their investment and everything. So that made me feel, why not put it on paper? Maybe probably the relatives of my friend will get to watch it. Maybe give him some free time to also invest in himself, because you look at somebody and wonder, with this lucrative job, how comes you're still living at the same house you were living when in campus? How comes you're not even improved your lifestyle? How comes you still thinking the same way, the same kind of way you were in college or in campus? So then that brings up to the question whereby, where is your money going? And you realize they're not spending it on things that are not worth it. They're spending it on relatives and on friends who feel their success is because of them. And that is the main concept of black tax. And if you watch the trailer of black tax, you'll know that black tax is money that is given to a friend or a relative because they feel it is theirs in as much as it is
They feel
yours. Yeah.
entitled. Exactly, they feel entitled to it, and this brings
Yeah.
me into. I would love to deviate from the discussion. However, I think
Yeah.
we'll go back a little bit into the whole black tax scenario, because there was a question on whether it's a responsibility or it's nothing. Basically, it's not that much of a responsibility. But before we even go there, Xavier, after hearing the idea of black tax and where black tax originated from, what do you think about the originality of our content and how we write our stories in the African context? Because think about black tax, think about Nairobi Half Life, think about Selena, and much more. What do you think about the originality of it, especially Kenyan
Well,
content, leave alone African content, because now that's a different discussion that we are about to have in the second part of this story. But think about the Kenyan content.
okay, well, after being threatened with English by Derek, so I would say if you can just feel how Derek was putting it across, it came to that point whereby you're like, okay, just let him speak about it. It really comes from the heart, you know. He's really passionate about it. So definitely it has affected him, you know. And that's why probably it looks really impactful. And the word probably I'm looking for is originality. Yeah. As a probably different aspect of where to get your ideas. One of them is you can watch someone's production, you can watch a movie, you understand? And that is where the originality really kills us, especially in Kenya, whereby we would like to adopt other and we are adopting it illegally, if I may say, because you see a story, you see probably a show that has been on a TV show in America, and you say, let me try and do this in Kenya. You understand? Definitely, you won't do it as good as they do it. Definitely, it won't be as interesting because most people will not associate with it because it's probably out of this world, out of our country. It does not affect us. And so you see, that's where the originality breaks down. Let's take, for example, the first example that Victoria gave us, Nairobi Half-Life. Why was Nairobi Half-Life such a big deal? Why did it score? It's because it's something that so many people, especially the people in Nairobi, related with. You understand? The thuggery, the prostitution, when we're talking about poverty, you know. So such things really probably motivated the writer of the show. And going on and on, Selena, for instance, why is Selena selling so much? Or probably why are people watching Selena? It has been on screen for a very long time, but people still watch it. It's because of the things that happen, the thematic inputs that have been put by the writers and all. So it makes people want to watch it more, and originality always sells. Yeah, and probably I would encourage people. I'm also inspired by Black Tax. It's always good as much as I don't think I've ever watched anything related to Black Tax as a theme. No, leave alone the title, but the theme also. And he did not go too far. You know, you don't go so far looking for an idea. The ideas are just here within us, untapped and explored. You know, so when we talk about originality, let's work with things that relate to us. We have so many stories in Africa, so many stories.
Well, not only in Africa, but then I would like to focus on our African stories and the division between Nollywood, Riverwood, and the essay stories as well. Now, to what impact do you think that or rather, let me rephrase this question. What is it that makes the Nollywood stories a huge success? In regard to now, I'm an avid watcher of Nollywood stories, and there's this authenticity, and I love the fact that you brought in a little bit about us copying the likes of Hollywood, but there's this authenticity that is in Nollywood scripts, even with their juju and whatnot. Now, do you think that contributes to the success of the Nollywood stories and the not so successful aspect of our stories? Do you think that there's a lack of authenticity and originality in Kenyan stories?
Well, not so many Kenyan stories are original. And those not so many are what people always talk about. We have very few, probably the least when it comes to the percentage, yeah? The least. There are so many things that you can watch on TV, or probably the things that haven't gone on TV and are on YouTube. Yeah? If you go on YouTube most of the time, you realize the Kenyan content that people put across really, really interesting stuff. Yeah. And why is Nollywood so successful? Number one, Nollywood, it's not something that I will encourage us to do. Yeah. But the first thing that I learned from Nollywood was they went for mass production. They didn't care what they do. They didn't care about quality. At times they would shoot and you would hear those generators in the background. They didn't care. You know, their story structures. When you're sitting down, like you're structuring your story, going for those, the denouement, you know, this is the time the story has to go high, the lows, you know. But when it came to the Nigerians, they didn't care. You know, they would shoot a movie in a day or two, you know, and what they did was mass production. And from what I have learned from the Nigerians, they have the same spirit the Tanzanians have. Yeah, chetu ni chetu. That's what Tanzanians say. Even if King Wede will come, mapepe, mapepe, that song will hit. They don't care about the content. It is ours, you know. But when it comes to Kenya, our fans are critical. Why? We're exposed so much to the Western. the Western Hollywood. And if you can just find out, like back in the days, like 20 years ago, when we were still in our 15-year-olds, when we were still young, the things that we were watching on TV, they were not TV, even the mobile. If you remember, zile cinema za nje, they were always Hollywood. We always knew about Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. Those are the things that we grew up knowing. And that is the thing we want to learn and do. It is a good thing. But you see, in Nollywood, from that time, they used to do their own, and people would really, and they have a very big fan population. Nigeria is really populated, yeah? And you imagine all those people going, and they were really fighting what we call, and this started when Kalamashaka, if you remember Kalamashaka, Kalamashaka was invited to Benson and Hedges' concert in Nigeria, and they were the main performers. You understand? And there was no YouTube those days, but I think it was in 98, 97. And the Nigerians were really offended that a group from Kenya came to perform in their country as the main show. From that time on, Nigerians started playing Nigeria for Nigerians. And that's how their music went up, the investment. Right now, we used to laugh at the Pastor Ken movies, someone being put in a bottle, I don't know what, all those funny things. Well, like, what are the Nigerians doing? But right now, Nigerians are so far much ahead, because they invested. And probably that's where we can adopt what KCFP is doing right now since the pandemic started. KFCB has really been promoting artists, and also I can probably speak about the president doing the stimulus package. When you're doing a production, you're paid, or you're given money to do a certain production. That is what we need, and it has to be going on and on. And I'm sure guys like for instance, Derek and the other people who have been nominated, the finalists, if that thing they continue being financed, we're talking about guys investing in production, in studios, they're going to buy cameras, and that is how we're going to grow.
Interesting you mentioned this, Xavier. I want us to take a very quick break, and I really want to go into that in depth, because why is it, as we speak, we happen to be having great stories, but our stories don't really make it as we should be making them? What are the things that we need to put into place? Those are discussions I want to have with director Derek Wasso as we come back after this short break.
Hello, my loves. This is Victoria and Kata from Responding to Life. First and foremost, I'd love to thank each and everyone who has been supportive of Responding to Life ever since we began our work. See you on the internet waves.
And yes, welcome back. This is Art in Heart. You are watching the very special edition where we are discussing about film and the art in film. Remember, you can follow the conversation right on Facebook with the handle The Arts in Heart. And of course, that is equally on YouTube, The Arts in Heart Official, equally streaming on Responding to Live and Tina Kigia official page. So I'm here with quite interesting gentlemen who have happen to be producers, directors in all their rights, including artists. Derek, before we left, we were discussing about why Nigeria, which has about 206 million population as of 2020, seem to be doing well. Somebody will argue it's because of the population and how much clicks they can have on YouTube or whatsoever. But do you think our stories are rich enough, and are we as producers and directors and scripters or script writers doing enough to actually push our own stories in an authentic way? Derek?
First of all, I really appreciate and applaud the good work that the Kenyan film producers are doing. We have had very nice productions that are currently ongoing and that have been done, and still others coming up. We've had properly done concepts and films series. We've had instances of mission to rescue. We've had great films like Nairobi Half-Life. We've had several of great productions, and I believe that Kenyan kind of storytelling is very unique, and it is amazing once embraced and can be able to work to the masses and grow beyond the nation. In as much as we are celebrating the Nigerian content and the way it has gone, our Kenyan concepts have one challenge, which I believe is a main challenge, and it's called culture. Nigeria only have one language, which is Pidgin. Majority of the Nigerians speak Pidgin English, and it's a Nigerian culture to have that sort of English. In Kenya, we have 47 tribes. Every person has their own tribe. That means we have 47 different cultures that are supposed to go to the world. We do not have a uniformity in culture. We have the Kikuyus, we have the Luo, we have the Luyas, we have the Maasai, we have the Swahilis. So technically, when you look at it from a democratic perspective, for instance, should we be having an election, it means that our voices are divided, especially if we have to bring out something that represents the Kenyan general feeling. And that is why you will find films that are selling do not have a culture. Nairobi Half-Life, for instance, does not have a culture. Ghetto Life is not a culture. To some level, it has an element of Kikuyu when Mwasi is coming to Nairobi. But the moment he steps in Nairobi, there is Sheng. Sheng unifies Kenyans. Every person has, in a way or another, related to Sheng. That is what brings us together. Yeah. And you find that in Nigeria, it is very easy for a person from whichever state to watch anything else from whichever state because they can relate to that culture. And that is exactly what is even happening in music. And for instance, when you talk about bongo flavor in Tanzania is, apart from bongo, there is hip hop in Tanzania. But generally, bongo is a common one. Do you know why? Because it unifies the entire country. In Kenya, we have Mugithi, we have Ohangla, we have Mulembe, we have all sorts of cultures. So when you bring them together, you find that they deplete our numbers. And technically, that means the selling point is diminished. So we can't go as far as these other countries that have singularly one culture. Uganda, we have the Baganda. Everyone is Muganda. So anything that comes from Uganda only comes from one kind of a culture. But in Kenya, we have 47 different cultures. That means if I produce a movie that has a background of Luo, chances are very many Luos will support and watch. But all these 46 other tribes may shy away from it because they don't relate to it. And that is why in Kenya, if you want mostly the films that are selling, they're kind of crime and ghetto kind of films, because you know that is something that somebody wants to experience and they feel they relate to. The economic structures of our country also are affecting our kind of production. And I'll be honest, production in Kenya is very expensive. Very expensive. Unlike Nigeria, whereby we have legislations that permit free production in Lagos, the cities of Nigeria. You can fly a drone for free. In Kenya, it's actually expensive. When you look at producing a film in Kenya versus producing a film in Nigeria, you find that it's more than triple the cost. So that means we are at a disadvantage. And that makes our producers even shy to create sufficient content that can go beyond the borders, because you're actually doing it in hiding. When you look at the cost of producing a short film that has like 5 locations, you'll need a shooting permit, you will need a license. You need to be certified by the Kenya Film Classification Board. In case you have a drone, you need a permit to fly the drone, unless you do it secretly. Then once the film is done, you need to take the film back for classification. And then, apart from that, when you look at the expense in terms of fuel in Kenya, when you look at the expense in terms of the cost of importing equipment, it's triple the cost generally all over. So production in Kenya is genuinely quite expensive. And when you look at the cost of production, it actually directly matches the output, because if it is almost free to produce in Nigeria and it's too expensive to produce in Kenya, that means more films will come from Nigeria than Kenya. That is why you are finding before, you'd find most Kenyan musicians prefer going to Nigeria or South Africa to do video shoots. Even in Tanzania, you find them, it's very easy to go to South Africa and come up with a very nice concept in terms of video than in Kenya, because the restrictions are a bit less. So that means once you allow the producers to explore their talents, they will research on their talents. When you research about bongo in Tanzania, I'm talking about now the music kind of, which actually is just generally presentation, you find that their music is embraced by them, not because it is, they embrace the music from grassroots, because it speaks to their hearts, because they can relate to the content, and the content produced is equally affordable to access. Looking at the budget, you would find that yesterday they announced that there is going to be an increase in taxation towards bundles. Do you know what that means? That means starting from next year, when you get out a music video or a film, it will be more expensive to watch it in case it is online. Unlike these other countries, it is becoming cheaper. There is fiber internet. Every home is being connected with internet. So technically, when there is easy accessibility, there is more viewership. And then when there is more viewership, it increases demand. Where there is more demand, there needs to be more supply. But in Kenya, somebody is very comfortable getting out from home, going to work, and coming back and sleeping, not knowing what surrounds them, because it is too expensive to access. So apart from the culture, the cost, there is also generally a lapse in terms of empowerment. And this, I really applaud Kenya Film Commission for the efforts that they are putting in towards enhancing massive production and supporting artists in regards to growing the craft in producing. You find that there are very many incentives that are coming up. As we speak, there is one that is called County Festival that is just having a deadline this night. There was another one that is a phone challenge competition, and there have been others together with Kalasha International Film Festival and others. When you look at
can I just hold you for a moment, because it's interesting you're pursuing that line of thought, but just quickly, somebody is very interested to speak about the Nigerian debate, and before we forget about it, let me just allow Xavier to come in and touch on that. Xavier, please.
Before I touch on the Nigerians, they don't like to be touched. Just start the Nigeria versus Kenya thing. There's something Derek has said that has really, really touched me. Are you aware that you can be arrested for flying a drone in your own estate in Kenya?
Yes, I am. Apparently, we need a lot of licenses for that.
Yeah. There are so many filmmakers who'd like to do so many projects in this country, leave alone the Kenyan artist, or the Kenyan producer. There are so many artists from around the world that would like to come and invest their films in this country. But because of the licenses and let me tell you, it is so easy to access a gun in Kenya than film. You can get a gun within 2-3 days. You can get a license to own a gun in Kenya. But for a drone, is just like removing a patient from a mortuary after you have a bill. It is that sad. It is so annoying. And maybe I should just start there. See, there's someone called Peter Kiboito who is in hospital in Nakuru. Pole sana. The kidney, I'm sure in Jesus' name, that kidney is going to get back as soon as possible.
Preach to
Nakwamini.
preach. Preach to
Yes.
preach.
Yeah, and I just saw that and I was talking about the hospital and all. Peter Kiboito, Pona Raka. Probably malintadifa kidogo na Derek, like when we were comparing each other with, like in Nigeria, I have friends who've been doing a film there. They've been invited to be guests to shoot. One, in Nigeria, you can shoot anything anywhere. Whereby in Kenya, if you do the same, you're being taken it. I have my guy who does my DOP, Njoroge Jonah. They were shooting somewhere and they were actually arrested, for taking establishment shots. And you know what they were being charged for? They were being charged for terrorism. Just young guys, they are guys in their 20s. They were just doing the establishment shots using a phone. They were arrested and they were going to be charged for terrorism. That is what Kenyan producers, actors, and everyone goes through. It is so difficult. This country does not support. I hope that as we grow, I think that draconian rules against the artists, they should be out. They should be scrapped off. Now, when you look at Nigeria again, as I was talking about, now we can touch on the Nigerians because Tumawasifu. Nigeria has over, according to Google, I think like over 300 tribes. Uganda has over 50, Tanzania like 150, 120. There are so many. And I want to go back to maybe the statistics are different from what Derek was putting across, but what am I targeting? And probably hapa tutalimwa kidogo for me saying this. Kenyans tuko na shida moja, hatujui kusapotiana. I swear. And don't interject. Hata tu nifungue roho. Si hapa kuna nini Ezekiel Mutua. There's a problem with
Kuna rafiki yake hapa.
We have a problem with Kenyans. Okay. The Kenyans, me including Derek and even you, if Aluya has something that is going on, two-term support. I remember that this guy called, I want to give an example of a guy called Njugush. Okay, Derek is eating. This is not fair. Njugush.
He has to maintain the calories.
Wanasikia njaa alafu unaambia mbajia. Okay, Njugusha came up with a very beautiful idea. Akapata mtu dero cha kucheka. Thank you for removing him. Njugusha alikuwa na set up his website. Okay, and going there to watch, unalipa kitu kwa M-Pesa to watch the content there. Do you know there was somewhere whereby like kwani wa Kikuyu watakuwa, I'm very sorry that I'm saying this. Thank God this is not mainstream media, but that was said, and it was said by someone I know, and my fellow Luya ndio alisema, and I was like, mbona we atumwangalie kama msanii? We have this beef, the unwritten beef between artists. Hatuju kusapotiana, and it's trickling down to the people who are viewing. Yes.
Interesting that you say that we have these unwritten beefs and unspoken for that matter. It only comes out when a piece of art is put out there. But that still begs the question: does it go back to the script or the content that you're actually producing? Because I might want to actually follow through what you're doing, but when I look at the script, I'm like, Nani, tell me something more about what you've put out, because it's important to actually focus on that part. I know we are running with the rabbit tail or whatever you call it, but take me back to the script, sir, and how it plays along.
Right now, content creators are struggling. Let me use the word struggling, to impress the Kenyan audience. Okay, how are we impressing the Kenyan audience? Just as you said, looking for those content, like for instance, let's go on Derek Waswa's YouTube page. How many people have gone to watch that particular content? And this is content for Kenya. Yes,
I have watched.
Okay, but as I go there, I think that particular trailer or the particular movie deserves more you know, because how many people have been affected by this particular issue. You know, ini kitu mtu anasema probably even personally right now I'm doing something on issues to do with the violence in families, the femicide. We have so much going on about women being killed and all. Okay, I've spilled a storyline, but anyway, that is a story that I'm creating. You understand? And probably my message is why are these women being killed? Why are these men killing? You know, I'm trying to delve into the issue and probably spark a conversation. And probably, okay, at the end of the day, I need viewers. So probably YouTube will give me something to pay rent, you know. But I can assure you it's going to be a very daunting task. You go to Nigeria with those numbers that they have, those guys are in millions. Si tunajisikia hapo tuko 47 million, sijui ngapi. Those guys are many.
There are 206 million as of last year's statistics.
Boss, I'm telling you, when Nigerians put something online, let's start with the musicians. And then they start, hey, the video has released this. Let's go on YouTube. And before it goes even to the radio station, my friend, that guy is a millionaire. Before anything.
Are you talking of Naira or are you talking of dollars by any chance?
Both are, okay, yeah, let's be very candid on that. Dollars. I'll give you another example. Yeah, who is? I'm sorry, probably I'm delving off, but it's an idea in terms of content now how we create our stuff, so that you can understand that we are not off. Seti script zetu ni mbaya, seti production zetu ni mbaya. But probably I can ask you right now, who is the best African rapper, hip hop musician? Do you know?
Well,
in Africa?
as of what has been claimed by the OG himself, he says he is the man. That's what he says.
He won in the, is it the Afrima or something? He did win. Yeah. And the Nigerians were so angry. These guys, but we know that he's good. But when he puts his stuff on online, you're putting your stuff on YouTube, hata fikia Harmonize, hata fikia Diamond. You understand? That is us. The most people who watch Diamond's videos are Kenyans.
Let's even go
if I'm getting this.
Let's even just talk about Sarkodie. Compare Sarkodie to Calligraph Jones and think about the talent. But Sarkodie or Casper Nyovest, they are very much up there when it comes to their viewership and when it comes to and these people are rapping in their languages, but we consume their content very, very, as in me, I vibe with Sarkodie, even the fact that I don't understand him. But then when it comes to Calligraph Jones, this is somebody who's speaking my language, but why is it that people are having a hard time supporting him, yet I can vibe to him, even understand what he's saying, and so on and so forth? When you look at the viewership on YouTube, or Sarkodie, when Sarkodie or Casper releases a song, boom, you see? But then look at Calligraph. So I understand. I really, really get what you're saying. However, now you said that it's not because of scripting. Can it be argued is the writing of the song? Or what is it?
Okay.
Well,
probably.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Maybe on that point, I would do. You understand? Because what I want to probably say is let's take Sarkodie's video and put John's video. You understand? Quality and everything. They will compete. Yeah, you're like quality. If they have cars, he has cars. You know, how they put on their clothes, the shoes they wear. But when you go to now the experts who are like judging these two pieces, you know, who is the best? Calligraph Jones has won it twice. You understand? Meaning he has won international appeal. 2, he is trending. But you see, his trending is not in terms of support from his home country. I'm sorry to say so. Many of our products are more appreciated. Like for instance, I will give you. Do you know that there are so many Kenyan movies that win in international, like in the French competitions, the film boards, even I'm sure in Belgium, because there's a time
there's a Belgian film whatever festival, something that actually they screen their African pieces,
and Kenya wins. We don't have those in Kenya because
Yeah,
even
I remember what story it was. It was this story that caused a lot of fracas. Actually, I think it was in Belgium. Otherwise, it was in Hollywood. The story with the lesbian, with the
True.
lesbian story. That
Yeah.
story actually really was big in the international market, but here we were in the Kenyan market, cursing on it. Right? We were
No. Actually, let me ask
it's not the
Derek.
extreme.
Let me ask Derek. Derek.
I'd like Derek to say something on
Derek,
that.
I would really want you to address that in the context of us creatives who are scripting and directing for that matter. Are there stories you're not supposed to tell? Derek, if you can get me. Yes, I get your microphone. Go ahead.
All right. One, there are stories we are not supposed to tell because one, it is a risk telling such stories. Rafiki did not sell in Kenya because before it was premiered, it was banned. It was
True.
banned in the country because of its contents. So that means people watched out of curiosity. And of course, by virtue of that, it means it did not sell in the country. Two, the cultural background of Kenyan society is homophobic. And there are things you can say and there are things you cannot say. A child cannot come and tell their parents, I am gay in Kenya, and expect to be treated normally, unlike other countries, for instance. It is not normal in Kenya to say you are a lesbian or you are gay because it will be treated very strange. In fact, they hide. Those are stories that you can't tell in Kenya. So our cultural backgrounds has made us have a limit towards whatever we want to write about. Apart from that,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead, because I just don't want to lose you there, but I will come back to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So go ahead.
Apart from that, Kenyans are generally negative people. Social, economically, and politically, we are negative. That
Okay.
is why, when you dress up really well, instead of somebody telling you you look really nice, they'll tell you ungeongeza tu sana, hii kiatu ingekuwa tu red, ingeweza sana. You know, it is very hard for somebody to tell you congratulations in Kenya because of this political and socioeconomic nature of our country. In fact, somebody would watch news and say e news ni boring because there is no tragedy, there is no death, there are no such things. So we are negative by nature. So it is very hard for a negative person to embrace anything that is positive and support. Most of the people who are supporting are generally people who are trying to just come out of that culture and move forward. That is a main challenge. Our culture is very negative.
But
And that is why when you look at every politician, when you look at their Facebook, if they upload a picture, even if it's nice, you'll always see negative comments. It's always just a negativity bit of everything. That is our main challenge. We think that when we say something that is negative, we look analytical or intellectual. That is
You know
our
what?
challenge.
it's your
Derek,
analytical
every
part.
time you speak, I have just, I know. Vicky, kindly go ahead. I will not comment for now because I have my questions. Go ahead, Vicky.
No, so I just wanted to ask in regard to that aspect because now that we're talking about that, would it be argued that we have refused to move from that cycle, which is affecting our script writing or our thought process? Because if you look at, let's say, and I'm using this comparison a lot because this is the other biggest competitor that we have. If you look at the Nigerians or even the Tanzanians are way, sorry to say this, but way behind us in very many aspects. And the Nigerians, of course, does it mean that they have beaten us when it comes to the mentality and the mindset of how they handle the problems that they have in their countries, and that's what's keeping Kenyans behind.
Well, you'd say that looking at the Kenyan culture, I would compare the Tanzanian culture to the culture generally at the coast. They're a bit humble, graceful, and you would find there's a bit of less negativity. There is something called utu, you know. When you come to utu, then una undugu. Undugu is brotherhood. When you don't have it, generally in Nairobi, you would be robbed and mugged, and somebody behind you knows, but they want to mind their business. But in Tanzania, there is utu, which generally brings familiarity brings, you become one. And that is why, as we speak right now, BT Africa uploaded a picture of Diamond vis-a-vis all the other African contestants of the award. But Tanzanians garnered all their support. As we speak today, Wizkid is at 14,000 comments, and Diamond is at 140 something. When you look at that, you look at Utu and Undugu. In Kenya, there is no Undugu because politics has brought in tribalism and it has divided us. Generally, everyone is on their own. If you show that you are on their own, then you deplete your numbers. And then when you deplete your numbers, you don't have views, you don't have support. The few who have support also have a lot of negativity and haters. Why would Calligraph Jones and Masauti sing something like that song where he says that in Kenya being a celebrity ni kujitolea? It is because of their experience in the country and the way they are looking at how things are. But when you look at Tanzania, they sing about, for the last 5 years, apart from Mbarambamba, who has sung anything positive about the Kenyan government and the president? Nobody. But in Tanzania, who? In Tanzania, we have almost every artist who has a song praising the government and the progress and everything. So there is no unifying factor in Kenya apart from the urge to succeed and make easy money, which is corruption. People unite to steal. Yes, people unite to steal generally and do not unite to do something constructive like develop art. So you'd find if you have a show, the first people you'll reach out are your relatives and friends. Then they'll come with their friends and other relatives. Very rare would you find that somebody just wakes up and moves to a theater to watch something they don't know or they're not related to in Kenya. In Tanzania, shows are filled up. You have a show that has over 20,000 people in a stadium and it fills up to the dais. In Kenya, that doesn't happen. It rarely happens. Very rarely. And it only happens when somebody has really struggled for a long time and they have made a big name out of the country. I would give another example, for instance. When I have a friend, she's a TikTok queen called Aziad. When she started doing her stuff, most of the people said she will fade away within a month. And it was generally the attitude where you look at Githeri Man and then most people who have been internet sensationals have fade away. They are very fast to judge. Huyu ataisha tu next week. Huyu ataisha next month. But then, because of the way she has sustained herself for this long, she's been able to pull a crowd of her own. And that crowd is what is sustaining her. In as much as there are people who never believed, they are just there waiting for the day she will fall down. Looking at artists like Bahati, they have come out of the gospel industry to the secular to just create controversy that can attract these other masses. Why would you go to that level? It is because you have to create something that has to spike so as to attract a Kenyan audience. So in case you are not controversial, in case you are not pornographic, in case you are not all those kind of things, it is very hard to sell in Kenya. It is very hard. And that is my view. Unless we change our culture.
And this is why Elsa Majimbo became South African, just to put it across. This
and
disowned Kenyans.
Even Lupita Nyong'o says she's no longer Kenyan because she knows. Why would such people say that?
I know Xavier has been waiting to come in. Let's kindly allow him to say his piece before he turns his face not so handsome like you called him when we started the show. Kindly unmute your microphone, sir, because you disabled it from your end. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. I think we've spoken enough about Kenya and our attitude, yeah? I just want to go back to the question asked of, are we afraid? Yes, we are afraid, yeah? And probably I would like to, I have, I don't know how this will be taken, but after I have a relative, okay, a relative who is actually gay. And I was one of the people who are really critical, like homophobic. You tell me something about gayism, I will have that steamer in a pit, like, you know, because I experienced homosexuality when I was in high school. When I walked into people doing bad manners. You know, it haunted me. I was in Form 1, and I was like, what? You know, and so it developed negatively in my head. And I remember the repercussions of that act that I witnessed was that these two individuals were almost killed. You understand? They almost killed. There was a mob justice on them, and I was like, "What? This thing is bad," you know. And after what I saw and all, so it's really bad. But then, as I grew, you know, you get to know people differently. Then someone is like one day, and by the way, me have this and this problem. What? Then do you know by the way, me was gay? I was like, So kuna ile culture shock, especially sisi wenye tulisoma Bungoma, you know, coming to Nairobi. When someone tells you in our school we had this person who was like this, and I was like, and you guys knew, and you left him, because where I'm from, the repercussions for that in a school, people would even ban the school. You understand? So the same fear of a writer, it depends where this writer comes from. Like whoever wrote Rafiki, I don't know if that person is gay, but probably it affects that person one way or another. You understand? For him to be so brave, you have to be, even I don't know if there's a bigger word than brave, but you really need to be really strong to write such a theme, because not only will you be hit by the masses on social media, because I can get like someone like McKenna. McKenna would put sexuality. There's is it Anita who also declared that she's gay, and they were really strong, but the after effects of saying so were really, I don't know if actually you come up with jobs are easy, but you know,
They
even
vanish
for
into the
employers.
oblivion, as they will call it. But
Exactly.
so my
Maybe
question to
come
you
arise.
is, Xavier, my question to you will be, so then how do we as creatives who are scriptwriters and filmmakers change the narrative? Because we can talk and discuss this, but how then do we change the narrative in the way we tell the stories that we tell?
Okay. Personally, as I put it, I would like to tell stories of what affects us directly, what affects us. Because I'll just use the words that our great president, one of the best presidents in the world, said. That is Uhuru Kenyatta. When he was asked about homosexuality by the other best president, Obama, he said it's a non-issue. You understand? I wouldn't want to put it as a non-issue, but it's something that probably I wouldn't want to touch on. I would like to talk about corruption. Probably that is whereby the country, probably the government will not be happy, but I'm sure the masses will be. A good example is when Eric Wainaina sang Inchi ya Kitu Kidogo. You know, you come to a place, as in actually by the way, Kenya is difficult. You can't move even those licenses that Derek was talking about when you want to shoot. You know, you even bribe to get those licenses, which you're going to pay for. As in, things are that bad in this country. So when you're affected by something to that, that's why that song "To Death" will always ring in people's mind. You can play someone, people sing along, and it's like 20 years old. I'm sure it's like now, ridiculous. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
I would like us to tackle such issues, and that's what I'm saying. And I'll repeat, I'm really inspired by Black Tax. I'm really inspired by that, because unajua ni kitu na watch nasema by this one so is going through the same thing. Unajua, that's why kuna hizo nini, hata kuna mtu amenipatia hapa idea, anasema it's not only women who get killed, even men get killed. we had that principal that planned the wife's murder. There's a friend of mine who sijui kama itakuwa kwa gazeti, the wife was actually planning his murder too. Hiyo ni kitu nimesema lazima niandike. But when he was planning that, she was planning the murder, she was planning it with a DCI informer. Kila kitu nini. Yeah, and then she got arrested. Sijui kwa nini haiko kwa media yet, but you see such things.
Xavier?
Yes. Yes.
I would like to then ask this question because I know that Nchek Tukidogo, as you rightfully put it, was something from way back, right? And this is something that we continuously speak about. Now, who is going to effect the change if we do not choose to write about emerging issues? Because it is an issue, as in we have a problem with killing, banning, and being against the LGBT community. This is an emerging issue. We have mental health issues, which are emerging issues. We have black tax, which is an emerging issue. Before, remittances were not a thing to talk about, but now here we are. Society is evolving and we are growing, and I'd love to pose this question to Derek as well. We are evolving, therefore issues are gonna change. We're no longer talking about corruption because we're talking about it. We cannot make 20, 200, 1,000 scripts on corruption. We also need to go back and also take into consideration that society is changing and there are more emerging issues. So if we get to some degree scared, and I understand the repercussions on this, then when do we get ahead of what we are dealing with in society, or who is to start the revolution when it comes to dealing with these issues?
Can I go first,
Becky,
please?
sorry, Vicky, if you allow me, and Xavier, I want us to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll allow Xavier to take that question, and equally a rejoinder from Captain, if you want to call him that, or Derek, as simple. So let's get a look at what actually black tax is all about.
We would have visited your mom, but with this corona, you clearly know we can't go.
Rorashio tumeplan kuanzia last year. Kama haunitaki Tito, sema. Hizi mambo za kunizungusha kama mtoto mdogo staki.
Black tax is and will continue happening. However, with COVID-19, the black professionals' ability to remit the tax is tested.
You're required to pay 200,000 Kenya shillings for the ICU bed of your mother.
The most challenging aspect of the black tax, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, is deciding whether to help the family out even if you yourself do not have what to give. The big question remains, is it their eternal burden to perpetually support their family members, some of who are distant relatives?
Daktari amesema auntie anaenda ICU. Actually, as we speak, niko hosi. Na ICU bed ni 200k booking before admission. Please tuma. Na usisahau kunitumia na toke extra ya nywele.
Naenda?
See the road trip to Costo. We've been planning this for ages. Don't tell me umesahau kesho ni birthday yangu.
There is a lockdown. There's no way we're going at this point.
We have the essential service pass.
Manzeni sina dosa hizi.
Ushindwe kunilipia Rorashio. Ushindwe kunilipia road trip. Ebu choose a struggle, Tito. Akina John Te na Kevo wako huko nje. Go change.
I have too much on my plate. As we speak, I can't go.
Hata Morio hajakaa na manzi yake. Nitaenda na yeye. Behaving as if ni wewe ndio hii corona imekuja ku affect peke yake.
We have to collectively learn to put our oxygen masks on first, as a community, to learn how to say no without feeling any guilt.
Umeona nimekuweka kwa group ya WhatsApp ya harusi yangu. Sasa wewe lazima utoe sasa kitu kama 20,000 hivi by the end of the day. Watu wakuja wakule wakunywe wachane kila kitu hapo tukikanyanga msiki.
I'd like to cancel my reservation.
Please those stories to postpone rather than to cancel.
Kama haunitaki Tito, sema.
Pay 200,000 Kenya shillings.
Ebu choose a struggle, Tito.
This one I can't kill myself. Oh. I can't kill myself. Oh.
Okay. The captain said he will not kill himself. I don't know what you think about that film, but you can always get to that film and vote for it for the nominations. And we will be getting the link from Captain himself, who tell us how we can vote for that film to get and grab the award. So, gentlemen, Vicky asked you an important question before we left. Who is going to stand and who is going to start the change and evolution of everything? Revolution, rather. Xavier.
Thanks. Kwanza umeona Derek ameimba ngoma ya Nigeria hapo. Promote Kenya content. So basically, who will? It's the Kenyan writer. Rafiki was written by a Kenyan actor. You get Kenyan writer rather. But Derek has chosen, assumes about homosexuality. Let him talk about black tax. So we all have our niche in what we do. And probably Mimi, Nangalia, this is just something LGBT. LGBT is a very sensitive issue. I need to research on it. And I won't lie, have friends who are gay. And it has come to that point where I've accepted them. I think I've made the biggest step. So it's not that I'm homophobic, but I don't know how, as a writer, I can tackle that particular issue. Sina huo uwezo. So briefly, probably because najua Derek has a bongela point kuputa hapo hivyo across, is that already the Kenyan writers are doing it. And we don't have to do a theme on corruption, really. You can put it as a sub-theme. Like you can agree, kwa hiyo nini, like black tax has space, assuming that Derek wants to do a longer version of it. It has a lot of space for corruption. To talk about how alichuja job, probably someone who paid, ndio akapata hiyo kazi, you can talk about that, yeah? So we can talk about so many things in what we do. And especially when you're talking about a movie, it will be detrimental if we just put such a theme as a running theme mpaka mwisho, or maybe you'll work on a love story, and then in that love story, utaonyesha vile inakuwa affected na corruption. It will be more interesting. But if you just have something then hey, I'm doing a movie on corruption, you're matatizo likes, as in just my thoughts. Kuna watu wanapenda kuwatch labda.
That's very true. That's very, very true. Mr. Derek, please, let's a bongela point.
In my view, which maybe I may differ with Xavier, I don't think we are ready. We are not ready for that sort of content as a country, because majority of the Kenyans who are our client are not ready to consume it. When you go to Rome, you behave the way Romans behave, and you will survive. The Kenyan kind of production is hand to mouth. Most of the filmmakers have not reached to a position where they can say, I am specifically surviving on film to live my entire life. You'll find that they do film, but there's something else they're doing. And as much as they're making films that they would wish to reach as many people as possible. The concept of gayism and other controversial stories are good, and people can write about them, but they will not sell. They will not sell because you'll not get theaters to premiere them. They will be banned before their final stage. They will not reach the maximum level of returns that you as a producer would anticipate for. The time will come. For instance, there was a time when, and I remember my aunts and my grandfather used to tell them, do not ever put on a trouser in this home. And they would obey that. That was like 20 years ago. And slowly by slowly, they started explaining, saying, these trousers help us. When we travel to Nairobi, we don't feel cold. And they started understanding it slowly by slowly. And currently, they can comfortably put on trousers at in the presence of my grandfather, and he's okay. So we can't force and say that you write controversial stories about this and this and they'll sell. They will not sell because you'll write about them, the government will ban them. They'll go nowhere. You'll remain with them in your closets and you'll not earn money. And that is why you'll say filmmakers are poor. We need to establish a selling point as Kenyan filmmakers that is genuine, and we also need to understand that we are from a cultural background. And as much as we are trying to embrace westernization, we need to understand that there are people who are in charge, who are leaders, and they're in authority to gag wherever they feel they can gag. So when it is not yet time, we can't produce it. Maybe somebody my age, when they reach to that position where they are CEO of a particular organization and they feel it is time to allow this kind of content, they'll allow it. But if your president says you cannot do this kind of, who are you to do? You'll be arrested. So as of now, we need to do things that we say
I'm going to interject.
will.
Just I'm sorry, sir, but are you asking us as creative to subdue? I mean, Sevi, what do you think about that?
No. I'm not saying that we can subdue. I'm talking about film business. You know, there is difference between film passion and film business. Film passion is where I can come out of my house with my equipment, using my money, go film something and air it wherever I want it. I don't care about whatever inputs and outputs that I will make. But when you talk about film business, there's something called market research. When you do market research, the first thing you're talking about is who is your consumer? Who is your audience? Who is your market? When your audience is shy from the content, when your market is shy from your content, when your generally leadership is shy from your content, it is a very risky business to venture into it. I'm not saying don't do it. You can do it at luxury. But when you look at it from the perspective of business, it is risky. In as much as it is risky, risks sometimes are beneficial. You can take the risk and benefit, but you can shy away from the risk and survive. So whichever you choose is your own opinion. But my genuine opinion as a producer and somebody who I feel should safeguard the filmmaker's investment is time is coming whereby a Kenyan scriptwriter will be able to write clearly about any controversial issue in Kenya and go free with it. It reaches its audience, and then once it is received, it can be paid for. I'll give an example of a song that was done by called Wajinga Nyinyi. Just I think last year but one. It is a very nice song. Nobody gagged it. Nobody stopped it from going wherever it went. But do you think by now Kenyans have changed their thoughts about their leaders? No. We shall still go in our tribal cocoons and vote in 2022. We shall still vote tribal leaders. We shall still go ahead and do the basic bad mistakes that we are used to doing. Because it is not that song that needs our revolution. It is our mindset and our culture that requires a revolution. Change begins with that audience. And then it is motivated with the craft on screen. As of now, if you ask somebody, do you think Wajinga Nyinyi changed Kenyan politics? No. It was entertaining, it was controversial, it trended, and then it died. We are waiting for another Wajinga Nyinyi to come, and then it does the same thing. And that has brought up a culture of casuality in Kenya, whereby you can do anything casually and go away with it scot-free because it will trend, and after 2 weeks, something else will come and trend. Same way corruption cases will come and trend and go. It is normal we have embraced mediocrity to the level that sense doesn't make sense to us anymore. So the moment you want to force people to embrace something that they're not ready for, you are ready for investing in a hole. So if you want to make money, You need to look at the moderations of your market. If you want to do passion, it is fine. But remember, sometimes risks pay. Movies that are banned sell because people are watching them out of curiosity. And then after they watch them, ilikuwa poa. Then, so you need to look at your market research and do it very well so that you don't invest somewhere and then after 10 years we are contributing to your funeral because you can't afford 10,000 casket. Yet you're hiring cameras for $500,000.
Vicky, go ahead.
I just have something to add, and I know I'm not a panelist today. However, Ellie, I am so sorry. Uh, now, this is both a follow-up question and a remark because one of the things that I took note of is the fact that we started by saying that Kenyan filmmakers are not making money either way. So, what's stopping Kenyan filmmakers from actually doing these stories? And I know that you also stated that the Kenyan market is not ready. However, it's not about embracing, in my opinion, it's not about embracing the LGBT, but telling these stories as well and being able to go out there and risk, because at the end of the day, if Kenyan filmmakers do not have anything to lose either way, since there's no support, there's no making money, why? Or can we take it from a point of view, and this is now the question that is more directed to Xavier, can we take it from a point of view where maybe the stories have become too what's it called, what's the word, they've become too predictable? So if you think about the Kenyan story, you think corruption, you think leadership, bad leadership and bad governance. There's nothing new to it, and therefore there's no support around it. What if we actually address all the issues that we have? Maybe then, because even I keep on comparing this because I see great and I know there's a lot of freedoms and so on and so forth, but it's not a very different culture from what we have. Now, if you look at somebody like Bobrisky, who aired in a film and so on and so forth, despite the fact that it wasn't really celebrated, it was something that was also set up in Netflix and so on and so forth. There are international platforms, just as Rafiki is there. I mean, can we get to a point where if we now state that if we are talking about Kenyan stories, then we are going to talk about all Kenyan stories, and it's a matter of we want to express them, not necessarily from a point of view that we're embracing it, but we're telling the stories. Just like Xavier said, it doesn't have to be that the whole storyline is based on it. Like Rafiki, the whole storyline was of this situation, but from a point of view where it's introduced and slowly by slowly, because we are never going to get to a point where it's boom, we're ready for it, right? It slowly has to come in, and this is the question that I had initially, where whose responsibility is it to some degree, where we also talked about Xavier. So Xavier, what is your point of view in regard to, number one, what Mr. Derek said, and number two, in the aspect of how we're gonna get there? Can we get there from a point of not counting loss? Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of we're not making money either way. I mean, do you think that the stories are now becoming too predictive and we need to start talking about our authentic stories in whatever regard?
Remember everything, but probably what I can pick, what I can pick from what Derek has said, he said he wants to disagree with me, but kinda he agrees with me. Okay, probably where we cannot, maybe we're not agreeing is the fact that the selling point, whereby you need to benefit from it financially. But again, he has given us another point. Sometimes when you're controversial, you can really make out. And I'd like to just give an example of a stage play. One of my favorite plays. This was done by a school called Riara School. I don't know if Ellie you saw it. I'm sure Derek you saw it too. It was called Roots of Dishonor. I think we all saw Roots of Dishonor. The Kenya National Drama Festivals is one of the most strict when it comes to the aspect of content, you know, and probably you won't go past the zonal level if you have some some issue on how you're going to put it, and how you put it across. Maybe let me put it that way. Yeah? And I remember watching the Riara play at the first level when the players, the first zonal level. Yeah, I watched and the director is a very good friend of mine, and Kawambia, this play is going to win at the nationals, and it won. Why am I picking this particular player? It had a thematic, can I say, overspill, or maybe the story was on FGM, but this writer somehow weaved the issue of lesbianism in this particular story. And why is it impressive for me? He wasn't really telling us about, or maybe justifying lesbianism. He wasn't condemning lesbianism. It was this girl who went home to probably pursue and probably find where her roots are, and only to get those cultures that made women feel like they are being put in a very difficult corner. And women started hating men because you find like in FGM, the men are the ones pushing the issue. And in this particular story, this girl was like, if my mom went through this, I hate men. Probably I just want to end up with a woman. I'm going to get married to a woman. It is an issue that is not controversial the way it was put, but it's a subject that was handled in a way to, like, it gave us this thing about, I started thinking about my daughters. Actually, I have 2 daughters, and I was like, am I a hero to them, or am I someone who will make them hate men? You understand? And probably as a father, am I the one who's going to probably affect my child's sexuality? Is the mother going to change? As in, how does probably the mother of my kids going to treat my? Now that I always want a son, I've always wanted a son in my life, and then I start taking my kids, Tora and Maisha. I start dressing them in football jerseys because I love Chelsea. Chelsea, they start becoming these tomboys. Will it affect them at some point? That is what that play actually inspired me to think. I actually had to do it. I took the script, put it on theater stage, Reza, and it's on YouTube. Probably I'll share the link as we discuss. It's something that probably people should watch. How it was handled, and I can take Rafiki. Rafiki was crazy. Rafiki was crazy. So I agree with what Derek said. If I take let me take a theme like Brokeback Mountain. If you remember that movie, I've given you the title. I won't give you the details. And I take the same concept of Brokeback Mountain, of these guys who are gay, and then I put the same theme in Kenya. I promise you that will bring a really big problem to where I will be. Because of what, I have to be extremely brave to do that. And probably personally, I cannot do that. Someone else might. What the hell? I know my very good friend, Senator Cleophas Malala. That is one guy who will look at a theme and say, I'm going to do this. That is why when you look at the play that was banned in Mombasa, he just went like raw. I don't care. These people
That was
are
from
going to.
Butere Girls, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
Exactly.
it takes as a writer, pia uko na limit zako. You understand? You know that I can go to this length. So probably assuming that I want to write something to do with LGBT, and probably it is in my mind. I'm thinking of it. If I mentioned, I have a relative who is LGBT, and what he goes through as an LGBT, I would like to address that issue because I find it quite dramatic. I find it's an issue that probably 1 or 2 people should watch and see. And then probably nitaenda vile Derek amesema, ikikuwa controversial enough it sells, or I just have to get a ticket to Belgium, nikuja nikakuwa siku 2 3 nirudi. You never know. That's my opinion.
I know out of the curiosity, and of course we want to learn more, but time is not on our age, gentlemen. I will allow Derek to put in his last word as we conclude, because we continue this discussion next week. Derek.
I do appreciate and I'm very grateful for having been a panelist in this very serious discussion. And I believe that somebody has learned from a few tips that I've given them. If probably I had said something that was not pleasant to you as an audience, kindly pardon and just consider it my view, not generally cast on stone to everyone. But to just echo what Xavier has said, and he spoke about a play from one very intelligent writer called Justin Ongwen, Roots of Dishonor. We find that it just goes back to what I say, that Kenyans are not ready for specific kinds of content because when you look around, lesbianism and gayism is not because of FGM in Kenya. It does not spring from that kind of. It's because of people who are trying to emulate and live a life. Probably, they want to express their freedom in getting. Probably there are chances where somebody will decide to be a lesbian because of a heartbreak or maybe as a few other reasons. But most of them, when you look at it, generally it's because of a lifestyle, a background, or maybe an experience. And that is why I said we may need to weave the stories a bit so that when you talk about it, it has to be convincing enough that your purpose was not actually to just talk about it. And that is a Kenyan audience. So once Kenyan audiences are ready for such content, they will embrace them. Generally, I believe that this has been a learning point to me and to everyone else out there. And I applaud the great work that we are doing also as thespians. And I believe that we are moving. When you look at pieces that were done in the 90s and 2000s and what are being done now, you can see a level of growth and improvement. So my request to the Kenyan audience is try and embrace your own, encourage your own to grow. Take your friend to a film school and show them the way through the creatives, because I'll give an example. Njugush just made 500,000 within a day because of his website. And it is because of content that he created and uploaded. So you can imagine if the entire nation would embrace art and support every thespian, then you'll realize that even our economy will rise up to a bigger level, other than just generally using examples of other countries who are just doing linear stories. Nigerian stories are very linear and simple, but they believe in them, they embrace them, they support them. That is why we buy them. So let us learn to embrace our own. Kenyan filmmakers, don't relent, keep producing, keep up with the spirit. I believe one day, one time we'll reach the mark, and we are reaching there. We are on Netflix now, we are on Showmax. Oh, what else are we waiting for? So keep producing. I believe we are headed to the right direction. And thank you so much, Ellie and Victoria, for having me.
Great. Victoria, you want to pick up before I give in my closing remarks with the help of Nato?
Please go. Let's not talk about it. I'm not giving closing remarks before our guests go on.
Nato, please go ahead. Your microphone.
Thank you so much. Dero, don't apologize. I think what you said, I like the fact that it's a candid discussion. And when you're honest and raw, I think it's the best way to go. Especially, I just pray that probably someone who's influential somewhere was in this particular discussion and probably just heard. You know, there's so many varied opinions out there, so many varied opinions that can help us improve ourselves. So probably let me talk to the writers, let me talk to the actors, the performing artists in general. Please don't stop what you're doing. We are headed on a right path. Let us go through what we call mentorship. I'm 40 years old. I've been in this game for 20 years, and I'm still learning. I still go on Netflix to watch. As much as someone can say this particular show isn't interesting, blah blah blah, but there's a purpose why it's on Netflix, and it's good to go there and probably learn and see what is this bad thing that people did not see. You understand? What is this good thing that made this particular piece end up on Netflix? You understand? So my brothers and sisters in art, chenye naweza waomba tafadhali, let us not stop pushing. It's difficult, it's hard, but I'm sure we are getting there, and we are making it easy for those guys who are coming behind us. Probably it's not for us. We're in this situation to improve. I'm sure if Ojuang can see what we are going through today, the days they used to get like just money for transport. Someone can nowadays tell you that I've done an advert. I've been paid 250,000. I did a Safaricom advert and I was given a check of 300 and something. I actually thought probably it's for 2 people or 3 put in one check. And I was waiting for instructions. I was like, wait, I've been given all this. You understand? So it's growing. It will reach a time whereby artists will drive those big cars. They'll have those big houses, like Derek has a big car though, but Nangurwa vibaya. So, but I'm sure we are getting there. Our wealth yetu iko hapa hivi. Our wealth is inside here. Yeah. And when we're having such discussions, that's what I'm saying. Derek should not think of apologizing, because what he has said, kuna vile imenifungua akili yangu, and I'm sure so many people who are watching right now, kuna akili zao zimefunguka. You might not agree, but the fact is that we should be moving in a certain direction and probably hit this thing, the most painful part, and we'll be happy at the end of the day. Thank you so much, you guys. Nawapenda, nashukuru sana. Tunatumia balance well.
Victoria, please.
Anywho, thank you very much for coming on board. I don't have much to say today, but I'm very grateful. There's a lot of learning and unlearning that we all need to do. That's definitely a fact. And as we grow, we also need to encourage our content creators to be themselves authentically and originally, because we do need to address certain issues as we grow, also for the generations that are yet to come. And please keep on doing what you're doing. Do it as you are, and thank you to the professionals who have come on board, because they are doing amazing things, really amazing things. So God bless you, and may he enlarge in your territory, and may you succeed and become better in your respective areas. So thank you very much. We are very much honored to have you on board. And yes, hi Otukwasasa. Do not forget to follow us on our social media accounts at The Arts in Heart on YouTube, on Facebook, and on all other platforms, Instagram. So, and you already know Victoria_Katha everywhere, and responding_to life. We shall see you when we see you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ellie.
Thank you, Vicky. Tonight you're sounding so calm and collected. Actually, this gentleman should know you can bite when you decide to. But for those who have been following the conversation on Art in Heart, thank you so much for making time. And of course, director Derek Waswa did a great piece with Deborah Wanjiku, actually, who was in charge of that production. I'm honored to actually work with you, gentlemen. And equally, Deborah, well done job if you're listening and watching to now, because I've seen you in the comment section. And you can always actually get to vote for this piece to scoop the award. And quickly, Derek, you have 30 seconds to tell us how we can vote.
I think the best way is to leave a link that I'll give. However, you can just still go to Kenya Film Commission's Facebook, and then you'll click on the link that is there. Scroll down up to black tax, then click on the dot, then submit your vote. You can vote as many times as you can, but also remember to watch the entire film on YouTube. Like the video, because there is no commenting, so just like it and share it widely so that we can reach as many people as possible. Thank you.
Definitely, Derek. We will do that. We'll be sharing the link in the comment section. So stay in to be able to watch. Actually, the link is already up on the comment section. We will follow up and send you the voting link specifically to that Black Tax film. So for the rest of the audience and everybody that contributed, including Daddy P, who is in the comment section, we have Wycliffe Gaddafi, Wiki Pro Roda, Simon Gatia, Ramita Ounce, we have Martin Steve Odongo, Calvin Mwangi, Godi Segero, Sharon Gui, who else is here? Righteous Man Ongwen, Justin, a great script writer and director for that respect. Thank you so much for making time, sir. Anne Seraphine, Saran, John Joe, Noreen Ambat. Say again?
Put Justin on. Let him give a voice.
And every other person, we are honestly out of time, so we may not be able to read all the comments, but we'll get back to them in the comment section, and I appreciate you for the great jobs you're doing. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you, and next week we continue the conversation, so I hope you guys can make time for us, because there's still unfinished business when we talk about film and the art of film. See you next week. My name is Likuyani Alien. Tomorrow night with Nyokabi GK Kamau, we speak to the family matters. On Sunday against all odds with one Frida Nguku. And remember to subscribe, share, and like the link and the channel, which is YouTube, The Arts in Heart. Until next week, have a great night and see you then. Bye-bye.
And I will not be moved. Everybody's moving. Everyone is going somewhere. With everything they're trying just to make it to a place where I am not there. But when the noise is over, a still small voice you will hear. I hope that you believe me.